Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Man, I almost didn't set up the YouTube stream right. I was coming in cocky, and I forgot to hit the auto enable start stream. You guys missed the fun little intro that I love to do, and honestly, I'm kind of torn here today. Okay, a lot to talk about. I know a lot of you probably did not catch my laundry fold along. So, we're going to be talking about balloons and objects and Project Bluebeam, which may or may not exist, by the way. I just want to make that very clear. A lot of people are under the impression that's 100% factual. There's zero documentation on it. Project Blue Book as well. I saw in the chat from yesterday that people were interested in my take on that. And I think that is an important take as well. Okay, I think there's a lot of important stuff to talk about today. But this story, even aside from the Super Bowl, and by the way, I'm going to say this out of the gates. We got a ton of Super Bowl stuff and commercials. And really, if you watch that, there was a lot of sustainability, EVs, but it was easy on the messaging. I think that especially the advertisers realize the Super Bowl in large part isn't the majority of the younger generation, right? It's still there, but it's more of my generation and older. So there was a lot of nostalgia as well on purpose. But the other things that were being portrayed to me, big on the multiverse. Now I know why they're pushing the Flash so hard. We'll watch that. U2 had a really weird thing with a sphere amongst all the balloons and the objects. We're going to get into that. But this is a story I missed. And I'm I wonder how I missed it. Number one, it should have been all over the media. I didn't see it all over the media. Number two, I should have seen it somewhere in my social media. I didn't see it in my social media. And that is that the co-creator of Rick and Morty, and really the guy who created Rick and Morty in a lot of ways. Okay. Justin Roiland, I mean, he did the original artwork on it, very crude, has had to leave all of his companies. He got arrested for allegedly abusing and detaining a woman physically. And there were allegations of underage abuse and that sort of thing previously, all the way back in 2018. And look, I'm not accusing Roiland of anything. I want to make that very clear. We're going to report on what is out there and what I've seen. And look, here, I don't like doing these shows. I want to make that extremely clear, but somebody has to do it. Somebody has to man up and say, hey, if these things are real, that's bad. Now, the thing is that Roiland does all the voices. And he didn't just have to leave Rick and Morty. He just had the most successful video game launch of his career. He started a video game company years ago. I actually played through it. I don't play through a lot of games, guys, but really TV and movies. I watch documentaries. Like I watched a documentary on it. I got halfway through it last night. And other than that kind of stuff, like documentarian stuff, that nothing is super compelling out there to me. I get bored at movies a lot. TV series I fall off on. Something about fiction, although, documentaries, not always true to fact, right? Definitely perspectives. But something about fiction today, very lacking, okay? And so I've kind of turned back to video games because they're, over the last decade plus, they've gotten more into storytelling. I haven't played them as much. And if I can play through something, I'll play through it, especially if I think it's fun, it has comedy. And I really liked High on Life. A lot of offbeat jokes, a lot of humor I get. And that's why in the past, we just did this video about James Gunn earlier, last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. That got a huge Super Bowl commercial, of course. That's getting a huge launch. That guy is now in the head of DC. We're going to get into the Flash later. So all this seems to be interconnected. And I want to believe the best of James Gunn. I want to believe that this guy is just making off-color jokes. I do. I don't want to believe there's any child abuse going on, ever. But if there is, I don't just want their game companies and the TV shows to disassociate with them. I want them to go to jail so they can't hurt any more children. And I want them to stay in jail so they can't hurt any more children. I think that's more than reasonable. And I think that, bottom line, that's baseline for any human being that understands a civil society and understands the value of treating our children as they are deserved to be treated, as innocent beings that we should love and educate to the best of our abilities so we all can benefit from society. And we're going to stumble along the way, and nothing's perfect. But monsters that would go after kids in particular are, to me, some of the most grotesque people out there. Like human demons that roam the earth. Human demons. And we're not getting biblical. We're not getting interdimensional. But we're certainly getting spiritual. All right? And it goes beyond monkey, ape, evolution consciousness. Right? And I'll tell you what. Animals get it for their young too, by the way. They protect their young too. They're not putting you in jail if you go after their young. Just saying. It's instinctual. And anybody that would go against that instinct of nature and abuse a child, gross. Get out of here. All right. It is Reality Rants. And I guess we started with our first rant of the day. So how was I put onto this story? And this is another thing. 5 years ago, an open secret, and we're going to play. Here's the thing. This video here that I could play all of it is pretty over the top, and we probably can't do it on YouTube. Maybe I will play the video that is being referred to here, Unbelievable Tales. Okay. This is pre-Rick and Morty. In fact, let's just click on this website so people can see. You used to be able to watch it here. You can't watch it here anymore. RoylandTV.com. So I remember, time flies, man. And that's the other thing, because, like, if this person is abusing kids, and by the way, these latest allegations, all these DMs are coming out of DMs where he's calling 16-year-old girls unbelievably hot. Oh, it looks like it loaded. Oh, it looks like you can still watch it here. Boy, oh boy. See, I couldn't watch it before. It didn't load before. Okay. Wow, it's still up, amongst other things. So, RoylandTV.com/unbelievable-tales if you really want to see it. Okay. So maybe it can't, because there it just failed. Maybe it's the browser. Who cares? I've got it. How do I even describe this? Okay. So the stuff that's come out right now, you've got one person who's another younger girl, had DMs with Royland. He was following, a huge fan of Rick and Morty, made a concept album about them, making a 9 Inch Nails cover album. You can read all this stuff now. But then a lot of the DM, she showed a DM, and look, I don't even know how to judge it. I don't love the DM, but it certainly doesn't prove anything. Again, we're not making allegations here. We're reporting the news. When I watched this 5 years ago, I was kind of disturbed. And it actually ties into Rick and Morty. Now, is this just really, and I'll show you how it ties into Rick and Morty in a moment. Is this really, really dark humor? Or is this like a revelation of something else? Now, before I go to that, okay, from Royland TV, and I'll show you some of the allegations, but to this. Okay, this is going to be the video that we're going to show parts of. Before we go to that. Along with that, and by the way, an open secret, a lot of people want to talk smack about them. Their movie is tremendous. I've interacted with them behind the scenes on some occasions. We've had agreements. We've had disagreements. We've shared information. I like them. I think they do good work. Okay? And you know what? They call out the nonsense. They do. Doesn't mean I agree with them all the time. Great source of information. Call out this is 5 years ago. They're putting this out. And now all this stuff, by the way, we're finding out that 5 years ago, that Roiland settled out of court with his game company, with somebody else. He's got a lot of money right now. You know, and a lot of these people do settle out of court. You never hear about it. But these people warned us. So I'm just saying that. All right? I wish that an open secret, even though it's not child abuse, and that's what they specialize in. You know, we've had conversations behind the scenes about Conor McGregor. It's not what they specialize in. I get it. But when we're talking about also the alleged serial beating and rape of women, I'm concerned as well. Call me kooky. All right. So I'm going to explain how this ties into Rick and Morty. Now, look, maybe I'm going to play the whole thing here. You know, let's just say there's little kids. Not here, but like when I say that, I mean, so let's just say like, oh, I didn't even want to do that or that. Okay? Bad stills. Bad stills. Those were quick. So you can kind of get an imagination. I hope we don't get even in trouble for that. It gets to this Bean character with kids crying and tied up. Okay? And, again, I don't even want to get to how violent it is. But he literally cuts their faces off. You see the little box in the corner, you can kind of see where it goes. Okay? So, again, this Bean character in these early cartoons, after you see terrible images of kids, and, you know, and very dark humor, this thing, yeah, there it is. Okay? I don't know what else to say. It's right there. Yeah. So, from there, I want people to understand that in Rick and Morty, you have the same character and it gets darker. Like it gets even darker than that. I don't even know what to say. It's we'll just play it. I'll probably get a copyright strike for this, but you know what? We'll do it in the place where I have the box here. So maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Here it is. Here's Morty meeting the Bean Man. Okay, let's do it. Let's meet the Bean Man.
How are you today? I'm Mr. Jellybean.
Hi, Mr. Jellybean. I'm Morty. My grandpa and I are on an adventure.
Nice. Is it a fun adventure?
I hope so, but I'm starting to get nervous that maybe it's gone a little too far off the rails.
Isn't that what adventures do?
Hey, you know what? You're right. Everything's going fine. I just gotta relax and go with the flow.
Yeah.
So, you see where this is going. Relax and go with the flow. So the Bean Man, all right, the Bean Man is back.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
No, stay. Go with the flow.
Stop. You're making me really uncomfortable.
Stop fighting me. Just let this happen.
So it gets even darker than that. We're going to stop it on that darkness. Okay? And then Rick actually murders that guy. Okay, so Rick understands what happens. That happens in a bathroom where his grandfather is outside. Okay? And he murders him for it. He understands something bad happened. That's about as far as it goes. Morty toughens up. Now, this is the prologue scene of the Bean King. It was a king. And that's the other thing. It gets tied into the fact that this, person was of importance. Weird. We're talking about high-level pedophilia.
Sir, I think you're going to want to see this. We found it inside a lockbox, inside King Jellybean's closet. We have to tell the people.
Wait. destroy it. Our people will get more from the idea he represented.
Our people will get more from the idea he represented. Now, think about that. By the way, we have 172 watching. We got under 50 thumbs. Can we get 100 thumbs? This is an important video. Okay? So, take a look at that. I mean, this is a smart show. And the thing is, I started talking about Dan Harmon, who's the other creator, who's apparently really the driving force of the narrative, other than the humor. Although there's a lot of off-the-cuff humor. I don't know how the show's going to be the same without him. They're going to have... I don't think it'll be tough to find people to do the voices, obviously, of Rick and Morty, because they've been imitated so many times, and they'll just bring in a voice actor that sounds exactly like Roiland. But a lot of improving. Harmon is on video in a sketch, and Harmon was a writer. What is it? Parks and Rec is what he was, a big writer and known for before he did this. And there's this weird sketch where Harmon sneaks into a window and, has, it's crude and whatever, sex with a baby doll. Like comes in and does that. I mean, is it just because it's funny? I don't know. I think that Harmon knows a lot more about the stuff geopolitically. For instance, in Parks and Rec, he's written Alex Jones into the script being discussed. He's talked about the Bilderberg Group in interviews before. I've kept up on Harmon. Roiland is like a good buddy with the Musker-Do. He was over at the latest Neuralink presentation. He was in the audience. He gets a shout out from the Musker Nuts himself. The guy that does this. The guy that had the child, being cut off your face kind of stuff there. You see what's going on here? I mean, just saying. Hey, I don't know. Hey, we're all going to have to make our own decisions. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that he's alleged to have done. All right, because I think it's important. Let's bring up some of the DMs. See, I thought I had the one with the DM in it. All right, but let's just read. Let's just read this one, because this one actually has a pretty good breakdown. Okay. Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland, who was charged with domestic violence last month and booted by his employees on 2 networks shortly thereafter. Everything, by the way. Hulu got rid of him. Everybody. Made working on the cult cartoon hellish, colleagues tell The Hollywood Reporter, because these are new allegations, by the way. Now, people are starting to come forward. Among the new round of accusations, Roiland once paraded a high-profile porn star through the Rick and Morty writers' room, openly discussed threesomes, and was involved in at least one instance of alleged sexual harassment during the show's 3rd season, notably its first with female writers. Again, that stuff, I'm not saying any of that's great. That's not abuse of children. He has also been estranged from Dan Harmon, Community, not Parks and Rec. I'm sorry, wrote on Community, with whom he created Rick and Morty for multiple seasons of the show. The 42-year-old Roiland was until recently a beloved name in alt animation, largely due to his fandom around Rick and Morty, a demented twist on Back to the Future duo Doc and Marty that debuted in 2013. It has been around for a decade. Okay, he's hit with 2 felony charges by a partner who lived with him in 2020. Days after those domestic violence charges, corporal injury and false imprisonment by menace, fraud, violence, and deceit became public. He's been fired from Adult Swim and Hulu. That's big. Like Adult Swim getting rid of him, and then Squanch Games, just also, after having a huge hit. Huge hit. I mean, like, when I say it's a huge hit, guys, I don't even know what to say. So he was sued for sexual harassment back in 2018 as well, and he settled. It's you know what? Let's just type it in. Justin Roiland DMs. Let's see what we get. to a 16-year-old girl. Disturbing, and several women have accused. There's the DMs of the girl, okay? That's really where I start to get upset, right? Really upset. Here we go. Would you do video game reviews and stuff like that? I bet you do good. Yeah, I'm just playing games and what? Then once you turn 18, you can just start cam. Yeah. Yeah. She's going to cam. Yeah. Why are you such jailbait? What's wrong with you in that regard? You should grow older, you dumb. Uh-oh. So again, Royland is, yeah. Is it cool being jailbait? Does the FBI follow you around, arresting all the men you sleep with? Maybe I will. I want to meet you in real life, jailbait, so I can't help you not be a homo. I'm Atlanta drunk. He's always talking about being drunk in these things, okay? And again, these are just what's out there. This is on September 25th. Justin Roiland followed me on Twitter. I was 16. There. So again, you know, an open secret comes out in 2018. It's 2023. This girl had this happen in 2015. How long has this been, you know, going on? How long? That's the real question. All right. Kind of want to shift gears just a little bit. And thing I want to shift gears to is that, first of all, it's not just this and entertainment. By the way, in video games, I want to bring this up. I love Borderlands, just like I love Rick and Morty, even though it pushes the multiverse and whatever. It's an excellent show. It's very good to watch. I like its humor. I think it's like a once-in-a-generation kind of comedy cartoon. Simpsons, Family Guy, Rick and Morty. And I like a lot of animation stuff. I follow a lot of animation stuff, have for a long time. So, and another video game, one of the few series I've played through, and I played through Borderlands 3. This guy, apparently, on this USB stick, it's not just, it's CP. And it's like, you got to separate the artist from the art a lot of the time, because these people aren't great. However, I got to tell you, when we play the Flash thing, I see the agenda. I see the agenda wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. See it? I mean, this is going to be, when we play this, we'll play this in the second hour when we go over to RVM. But it's multiverse madness. It's transhumanism, I'm sure, in a lot of ways. It's time travel. It's all of it. It's simulation. You know what? I've tried to, let's see what we got here. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Boom. Just gonna do that. Okay. So let's play some of the Super Bowl stuff, because first of all, let's get rid of some of the fake stuff. Rihanna was not wearing like a pentagram on her belt. I've seen that going around. Not real. Not real. That was the harness to make sure she didn't fall off stage. Not shaped like a pentagram. You zoom in, it's not there. So before you share that meme, I'd suggest you don't. Okay? That's one. Two, I actually thought for a suit, I get it, they were all in red, and then there was the white. It was almost Santa Claus-y. Then they had the black. Like when they went to the band, there was a little bit of black. So, but they showed some blue on there, I guess. You know, there were some symbols. I didn't see what they were on Rihanna's side. A lot of speculation. She's pregnant again. She may very well be. A mix of lip syncing and singing. Okay? Look, I was actually kind of happy with it. There was like one kind of little bit sexualized moment. I think they pulled it back. But people will say, hey, you know, she's dressed in beet red. It was obviously a representation of Satan. I'm not saying that. I'm going to say this. She's very talented. And the performance was very dancey and poppy and had very few risque moments, especially what we've seen in a long while. And that's what I'll say. I mean, the women were wearing bras. Sometimes they pulled up their shirt. You saw the bikini bras. The dudes had the 3/4 netted shirt. Remember that 3/4 netted shirt? Mid-'80s to early 90s? Yeah. Good look, gentlemen. Good look. It wasn't terrible, okay? But there was certainly messaging throughout the entire thing, okay? And I guess the first message that I think is kind of important to go over, and we're going to play the commercial, was this message now, Netflix, huge, right up there with any production house in Hollywood. We all know it, making the buxo. And they're openly telling you, we're going with the green agenda. Now, there were almost every other car commercial. There might have been one commercial that wasn't an EV commercial. But that's something I certainly did notice. The other thing I noticed about the Super Bowl is there, in reverse of everything we've seen on television and the media day to day, I didn't see any big pharma commercials. Did you guys? I saw some stuff for like the Jesus group. You know, that was like the most risque political stuff I think I saw out of everything. Scientology apparently got an ad. I didn't see it. We're going to play it. The Singularity got pushed via Squarespace. We're going to play that. The U2 thing with the sphere, you know, especially with the balloon madness and the UFO stuff, kind of odd. Because although I only saw the 15-second ad, apparently there's like a 4-minute video. We'll play that in the second half of this broadcast. And by the way, can we get 100 thumbs up now that everybody's watching? If you are just tuning in, you can go back to the beginning if you want to get into the Rick and Morty stuff. But it's dark if you've been following it. This stuff is dark. And really, this whole sustainability and green agenda is also dark. It's extremely dark. But they're going to sell it to you in every single way they possibly can. And Will Ferrell's going to let you know. So they tell you in this commercial, aside from everything I was seeing with everybody getting an EV car, you know, like, I was thinking about it. And just a thought, just a Jason Bermas in my head thought. I've driven a lot in the last 3 years, a ton. And I'm talking 14 to 30 plus hour trips where sometimes I stop and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do 14 to 20 straight shot to the baby maker, guys. Just doing it. Can I do that with an EV? I mean, how long does it take to charge one of those bad boys all the way up? I mean, what am I going to get? 300 miles? 400? I don't even know what the max is at this point. Like, if I went full EV, what's the max mileage I can get? When I'm traveling 1,000 miles, which they don't want me to do, what do I got to sit at a station for an hour and a half each time? Like, right now, I drive a 4-cylinder, and I'm blessed, right? I fill that bad boy up 10, 11 gallons, and it's quick. I go in, I go to the bathroom, I get a coffee, I pump my gas, I'm in and out, 10 minutes tops. Tops. Am I in and out in 10 minutes with an EV? Yeah, meanwhile, I'm watching, like, you know, this fictitious, like, I don't even know if it was a Jeep or a Bronco or whatever. I think it might have been a Bronco. Driving through jungles and, yeah, all the wildlife's dancing around. Yeah, they're dancing to the EV. Ooh, yeah, singing songs. And then they park in the middle of the jungle. And they're just powering up, hanging out. Now, let's just pass on some of the absurdity of that. Okay? And we're not going to play that commercial. We are going to play the Will Ferrell one. Now, if you're in the jungle and there happens to be an EV station right there, better hope you don't get eaten by any of the many predators in the jungle. Not that the EV station would actually be there. I mean, that's another thing. You're basic. Like, let's say you went off-roading with one of these things. You're stuck unless you get towed afterwards. Like, if somehow you run out of juice, something goes wrong, that's it. There's no walking to the gas station. Just a thought. So anyway, slick commercial we're about to play. Everybody loves Will Ferrell, right? Everybody loves Will Ferrell. They're playing off of pop culture. And in this one, in particular, they're telling you we're going to use EVs every chance we possibly get. Let's get to the commercial.
General Motors is going electric, and Netflix is joining in by including more EVs in their movies and shows.
It's the least they can do.
So if you're going to get swarmed by an army of the dead, why not get swarmed in an EV? No! I said no biting! Or if you're being voluntarily kidnapped, why not be kidnapped in an EV? What's that scent? Is it pine? Now, should they add EVs everywhere? They shalln't. They shan't. Is it shallant or shan't?
It's neither.
What about here, Erica?
You're ruining the show, you idiot.
What do you mean? It's me, Dusty.
You're not.
Yeah, you're right. This is ridiculous.
Tammy, wait!
Later, loser.
But anywhere else it makes sense.
There goes another runner.
Brad was so much better for you. You should have gone with Brad.
Yeah, Brad.
Are you serious?
Why not make more of those cars electric? It's the least they can do. Gordon, you kill me. I mean, you literally did kill me.
It's the least they can do. So they're outwardly telling you that we're going to use social engineering. Okay? It's social engineering through media, through things you pay for, to make you go electric.
You know what? I'm glad you bit me too.
There's the part. Hey. There's the partnership. Hey, there's Al Roker. The Today Show. And I noticed that the Today Show, like, really pumped these commercials. So, and it shows you how fixed everything is. Because the Today Show, NBC, it's supposed to be a competitor, right? It's supposed to compete against Fox. And by the way, El Muskernuts himself at the Super Bowl. Boy, he's everywhere, running all these companies. About to send people to the moon, put brain chips in everybody, build robots. He's at the Super Bowl, sitting next to Rupert Murdoch. Mr. Fox himself. Old Foxernuts. He's Foxernuts and the Muskernuts. The Nuts crew. All right. Which one do we want to do next? I think that we're going to do the Singularity next. I was actually expecting a lot more transhumanism stuff. Instead, there was actually commercials I liked. Let me give you, like, they played on the nostalgia big time. And I thought I had the Clueless one up here. I really did. Did I not download the Clueless one or hit the play button on that? Because I also, I saw that. And the Clueless one I wanted to play. Maybe we'll just bring it up in YouTube. Because not only did it do the nostalgia thing, it did the de-aging thing. And now people are going to be forever young, right? Back in the day, you would see some of that, but it was with makeup, and you could only do so much. Now, with technology, they've got Alicia Silverstone looking like she, almost like she did back in Clueless when I was in high school. I saw that movie in the theaters in high school. I'm an old man. See those grays? They've come in. I think they gave her like a hint of gray with a lot of the de-aging deep fake stuff. But Squarespace, AI, the Singularity, that was one of the things they did with Adam Driver, and they specifically brought up the Singularity, and we're gonna talk about that as well. But here's the commercial, everybody.
Squarespace is a website that makes websites? Squarespace is a website that makes websites? Meaning, it could create itself. Websites making websites. Websites making websites. Very good, Adam. I'm Adam. We're in a closed loop of creation. It's the singularity. You did it, Adam Driver.
So, we've talked about the singularity here. It is the Kurzweilian idea in which essentially everything becomes infinite. It's the idea that somehow we transcend our reality, we become beings of light, we travel the multiverse as anything we like. And I don't know that it actually exists. Certainly being sold on it. I mean, when Kurzweil tells you that we're talking about injectable bio nanotech that turns off our nervous system and enters us into a virtual realm, if that is even possible, and it indeed does occur, how do you know you're going anywhere? Isn't that just the great deception? A big lie? Just like you're going to upload your consciousness. And by the way, you know, we talked about it again and again and again and again on this program lately, but Damar Hamlin was everywhere. Was everywhere yesterday. He's sitting next to Goodall. He's alive and well, folks. It's not a clone. It's not an impersonator. The tattoo's there on his neck. I know there was a lot of talk there. This whole clone thing drives me nuts because, again, in order to believe that, you really, literally, legitimately have to believe you don't have a consciousness. You do. Think about that. Because if you believe that somehow your actual consciousness can be captured and then you can be cloned, as in so much sci-fi, we've been prepped to believe that, just like the UFO and alien thing, guys, just like we're being prepped for this China World War III conflict. All right, we've been prepped for it for a very, very, very long time. Very long time. They can't copy your consciousness. I don't believe they could physically gestate a clone to be exactly like you. Artificial wombs, Jason. It's not the way they work. All right? Now, technology is probably far beyond where I could even comprehend. Especially when you're talking in the realm of bio-nanotech. For instance, when we're really talking about printing organs, right? Printing biotissue. Right now, I think we're seeing the beginning of a scaling up of that technology that's actually been around for decades now, because the pieces are becoming cheaper and our knowledge is becoming better. All right, that's one. But behind the scenes, I think a lot of that has been done with equipment that was maybe very unique, one or two of a kind, because of the limitations of the resources that are available for them to make that equipment, if that makes sense. I really do believe that's where we're at. So I just stay in reality, man. And I see them pushing this transhumanism. And right now with the chat GPT, I keep telling people it's a programmed thing. It's garbage in, garbage out. Now, I saw a screenshot recently. I don't know if it's real or not. That's why this is speculation. I'm putting a big red stamp on it. That's why I don't share a lot of I guess I don't share a lot of screenshots, because unless I independently verify them, I have no interest in posting them. I like to be accurate. Just saying. I think it's important. But I saw this screenshot of a chat GPT and it was on the trans issue, okay? And it gives you the generic answer of, how there's this new scientific agreement. It's the World Health Organization answer. And that's what's very scary, because I see it being echoed by the supposed authoritative sources. That's where we're at, okay? And in my mind, that's extremely dangerous. I mean, when you're talking about now gender and health, and this is the World Health Organization right here, and they're letting you know. I mean, this is the new science, okay? And it's all there. And it's all about equity, right? Socioeconomic status, ethnicity, discrimination. I mean, this is long scale normalizing this stuff. Okay? So when I see that issue tackled, the whole, I'm just like, uh-oh, here we go. Here we go. We're pushing it, and it's transhumanism. This is the New Deal. I don't know how else to describe it. It's dangerous, man. They're taking away our humanity. It's the new thing. It's not real. All right? Normalizing this madness is getting rid of our humanity and just serving us up to this multiverse simulation nightmare. Period. It's right in your face. It's all integrated. And now the social engineers have come out in full force. Full force. All right. I want to play another commercial as we keep going through these. These were what was on there. But again, like I like the Pepsi commercials. There was like Pepsi Zero commercials, right? Now, I'm not telling you to drink Pepsi Zero. Why did I like the commercials? I liked the commercials because they were talking about acting and how none of it was real. Steve Martin, who was the other one? Ben Stiller. And I've had my issues with Ben Stiller, right? They were telling you, look, am I acting? Do I really like this? I'm not sure. And by the way, if Ray is listening, I was supposed to have like my first ad for the week here. I did not see anything get added to Dropbox. Maybe it did get there. I didn't see an email either, Ray. Maybe I missed it. But we would have had our very first commercial on this show. We're going to be running like one ad for the hour. Can you believe it, guys? So that'll be another way, I guess, to support the broadcast. I hate doing it, but, at the same time, we want people who want to support this show, right? I'd like to get bigger. I love that you guys are sharing the links. I think that's important. I love that you guys are sharing the information. I think that's important. I love that we're reaching a whole new audience with Red Voice Media. That's important. All right. So this, I didn't see it, but this is the Live Again Church of Scientology Super Bowl commercial. Maybe you guys saw it. By the way, I've noticed, because sometimes I watch feeds from different areas, not only do they pepper in local commercials now at the Super Bowl, and they've been doing that for a while, almost unheard of years ago. But, I mean, that should tell you something, that they're peppering in some local commercials. The commercial schedule does seem to be a little bit different by geographic area. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Here is the Live Again Scientology commercial.
If you think that all is lost, that every dream has faded, that the last light of hope is gone, think again. It's there within you, something that can never die.
You can live again.
The power.
Live again.
To rise. To create. To live again.
You can live again. You can live
Because nothing is more powerful than you.
Man, it almost seems like a rebranding of what they did in the 80s and the 90s with Dianetics. And the thing is that a lot of this stuff is real self-help stuff, right? And then they give you the little things and, you know, they're testing these levels. But at the end of the day, although it is very involved in you getting involved, it is, in my opinion, a false religion that uses, you know, Ponzi scheme like tactics in order to set up a hierarchy, just like any other corrupt system. And it's got its serf class and slave class. Just saying. It's there. That's what I see. I don't know. Okay? I mean, does somebody else see different? Am I nutty? Am I a little kookles? I don't think so. And that's the thing. Look, I want people to understand something. I think inherently each of us have great power, amazing potential. Most of us have almost some kind of inherent gift that we're driven towards. Okay? Some people have a multitude of those talents. Period. And they're a wide spectrum. It's almost infinite. It's pretty incredible, right? Especially as human beings that create things, that out of the tools nature gave us, the design that was all around us, we have created amazing things. Without the individual, simply not possible. We're always being told about the collective. Now, don't get me wrong. It takes a lot of people to build a rocket, a satellite, right? A lot of people to build a hospital, a power grid, roads, a lot. But to have the vision to do that, to have the drive to bring things into fruition after failure, after failure, after failure, that's the thing that people don't focus on. Everybody wants the easy way out now. So we're kind of fed to in society. Ain't nothing easy. Ain't nothing easy. Nothing worthwhile. You might fall into some luck here and there. I think we all do, but we also bring things into our own life. But there's also a great amount of satisfaction as a human being when you feel like you've done something special, right? You've achieved a goal. You've set a goal. You failed, or it took a very long time, and you did it. Wow, awesome. Great feeling. Doesn't get much better than that. And that's the kind of thing I encourage, man. And all of us out there, I think we've all got that. I think that's also part of the human spirit. Another thing that makes our species extremely unique. They want to take that away from us. They want to be the unique ones. Who are they, Jason? Who are these they? It is a predator class that openly in their writings have said that they want to direct human biology. And not only the biology of our species, but every species out there. Meanwhile, okay, they're putting fear in. They're saying, oh, these objects, they messed with our radar system. Okay. Well, I saw it was cylinder. I'm telling you right now, this is human technology, 100%. And they're gearing up for something. But I think more than likely what's happening is we're seeing 5th generation warfare. I said this yesterday. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on at HARP and what happened in Syria and Turkey. I'm certainly not dismissing it. I'm not saying that's a fact. From what I've seen, I have not seen, if anybody can debunk, for instance, the fact that there were those very, very odd lights in Syria, please, debunk away. I need people to debunk it. But that's prior. I've already seen the weird cloud, okay? We have weapons that are based in space. We have HARP. We do have weather-based warfare as well. All right, that we have warfare that is fingerprintless. Now, if you do that kind of stuff, however, and you have stuff that is in low Earth orbit or perhaps lower, like in these balloons, 100,000 feet, the Satelloons, if you will. Again, I'm not saying things don't go in orbit. I think the vast majority of that stuff are... In fact, let's type it in. Let's show you what nanosats look like. Okay? This is really what's being launched into orbit these days. Okay? They're very, very small. Very, very small. They're box-like. Tiny. Like, they're like literally. They're CubeSats. Okay? That's what they are. Take a look, guys. And they're tiny. Like, here's a good look. That's it. It's like a glorified Rubik's Cube. You know, some may be a little bigger. Some may be a little smaller. I don't contend to be a huge expert on this stuff. Okay? But you can take a look. And they even have students building these things for years and years and years. In the Transformers conference that I've played, I showed you that they were launching those things. I think if you engage in that type of warfare, you're going to have problems up there. I think it's a joint communications network. Obviously, China took responsibility for the one that was 3 bus lengths. Very suspicious. And, you know, I'd really like to see if we have some high-level imagery on that, like zoomed-in imagery. Meanwhile, I guess, you know, we'll have a little fun in the last 5 or 7 minutes. Remember, we're going uncensored. We're going to play the whole Justin Roiland sicko video of the kids, I guess. But they played this, and it's part of a 4-minute plus video, or it's right around 4 minutes. It's U2, Octoon Baby, and I don't know what to say. It's got the sphere. Okay, here we go. The sphere.
An unidentified object has been spotted over the skies.
So it's live at the Sphere. I guess it's a new venue. I just thought when I saw that, and you know, maybe they just cut that from the 4-minute thing. We'll play that on the other side too. It was just so in line with all the madness and weirdness going on. All the madness and weirdness. Meanwhile, again, we've got the Ukraine-Russia situation. That's real. We've got massive inflation in this country. That's real. We don't have integrity in our elections anymore, no matter what they tell you. That's real. We haven't for a long time. For a very long time. In fact, Carrie Lake was here like a block away from my house. Is friends with Militich. If you guys watch the show, I'm good friends with Pat. I bitched about this yesterday. I'm bitching about it again on the air, Pat. First of all, her and Todd, who I have on the show, him and Todd, who I have on the show, knew about it. Don't tell me about it. This is on Friday. She came all the way, packed house, went to Des Moines the next day, packed house. On top of that, now I'll say this. I had an opportunity to go to the bar where Pat was shooting this. Pat does a MMA Mobsters podcast where they actually give pretty good odds. If you bet on MMA, his partner, Justin, is pretty amazing. They were doing like a meet and greet / broadcast after their podcast over at this bar. I just started dinner. Look, guys, my weekends, I like sitting in and watching the fights. Even on Friday, I was going to rewatch. I hadn't watched that mornings. Every Friday morning now, 1FC. Mostly Muay Thai, but some MMA and a cage. Or not a cage, a ring. Good stuff. Watch that. I didn't go. But then no one calls me when Carrie Lake shows up to the bar to see Pat. What? Militich. Me and you, buddy. He said, anything comes out, he's like, I totally forgot. I had no idea it was there. Like, it would have been great for my, like, I could have gotten an in-person interview. I could have taped some of what she said. We could have played it here. Probably played it in the second hour because there's just certain things you can't play here on YouTube. But it would have been a great experience. I'm not crying over spilt milk. I'm shouting over spilled milk here on air. redvoicemedia.com/Jason, redvoicemedia.com/Jason. Jason. Maybe tomorrow we'll have the commercial. I'm not sure if Ray is listening. Maybe he gave it to me. I'm going to check my email real quick again. And all I'm seeing, there it is. He did. There's the link. So guys, we're going to do it. We're going to play our first commercial. I'm going to come on back. I'm going to come on back after we play our first ad ever here on, let me see if I can download it quick. Send a copy, new. There it is. Download, like it. Boom. All right, guys. Here it is. Our very, very first ad on Reality Rants with Jason Bermas.
Are you sick and tired of hearing companies you purchase from constantly pushing their woke politics on you? Stop spending money with companies that hate you. Make the spending switch. Spending Switch only works with based companies who love America. We are adding new vendors often, and our vendors will never allow your hard-earned money to be spent against your way of life. Check us out for the best in survival food, preparedness, heirloom seeds, apparel, coffee, and much more. Go to SpendingSwitch.com. Again, that's SpendingSwitch.com.
Boom! SpendingSwitch.com. There you go. How about that? How about that? It's our first ad ever. With that being said, I'm going to cue it over to the producer to start making that switch over to the premium end of the broadcast. I do want to thank everybody who has signed up. Okay. redvoicemedia.com/Jason, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. That's how you're going to see the uncensored portion of this broadcast. We're going to play the Flash trailer. We are going to play, which one was the other one? Oh, the full U2 4-minute movie with the sphere. The sphere. We're also going to play the very odd Tubi robot or rabbit commercial that was just creepy as hell, and it was down rabbit holes, and I don't know if they were feeding off of like conspiracy stuff or horror stuff or both, but they also had like the best commercial on the Super Bowl everybody's talking about, because most people have a smart TV and this one interface. I don't have that interface, and I wasn't particularly watching on a smart TV. I was watching most of it in my office while I was making thumbs, thinking about, I was actually watching it for the show. So what would I go over for the show? And then kind of like figuring out the pattern. I actually, do a little research for the program. And it comes up, and all of a sudden they had like a fake part of the broadcast, and it looked like all of a sudden they put on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Like they turned it over. Brilliant advertising. 15 seconds of utter brilliance. All right. We are good to go. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody over at Rumble. I love you guys at Rumble. Thank you. And if you're not subscribed at Rumble, what are you waiting for? Goodbye, Rockfin. I love you guys as well. Couldn't do without all the Rockfin subscribers. Thank you for all the support over there. YouTube, yuck. Yuck. I hate the self-censorship. I hate the fact I'm not monetized, and so many others are. I hate having to do the Newspeak thing. And I'll talk a little bit about Newspeak on the other side for those